Okay, so the scene starts off and we finally back with some. You know how long I've been waiting for this? You guys know Mark's on our time in this season. I ain't even go yap for too long. Let's get straight into it. So it starts off and we instantly get some squabbles, cause we see Mark holding up some giant's foot. He flies up to get out of this and instantly charges in, hitting Buddy with the right fist of doom, setting him on his ass. Mark then flies around, weaving a bunch of hits, and then hits Buddy with another punch, but gets grabbed on his way out. He then gets slammed into the floor and bro gon' pick up a whole top of the mountain, slamming it into Mark. And the giant gon' start celebrating like this shit is over, talking about some "We did it!" But bro is sorely mistaken, cause Mark breaks out the rock and gives bro the meanest punch, sending him 100 feet into the air, ending the fight. And this is where we find out the whole time this was a training simulator for Mark, and this giant is actually a damn 8-year-old. Invincible's out here beating on kids. How low can you go? Anyways, we then go through a whole Cobra Kai type training montage with Mark, and Donald says that his speed is increased by 65%, his endurance by 70%, and his strength by a whole 138%. Bro's been leveling up during this time skip, acting like he's Sun Jin Woo. All he has to do now is gain that aura, and after getting your ass beat so many times, Mark, you've got a lot of work to do, I can't even lie. Anyways, Rex then pulls up to the training facility, and Donald gets an alert saying someone's stealing the Declaration of Independence from the National Archives building. So Mark decides to take Rex on his next mission. We then cut to the villain stealing the Declaration of Independence, and this scene right here had me thinking these niggas were gonna be tough. Just look at this. Kick to the stomach, block elbow to the ribs, his body with the meanest alley-oop into a damn suplex, and then a double kick. I was in my seat, geeked as hell. But all this hype dies down hella quickly, cause Mark and Rex pull up, they start squabbling, and they ain't even taking these niggas serious for real. Looking like any team going against the Wizards right now. Motherfuckers are going out there just to have a good time, cause they know there's no way they lose. Anyways, Rex ends up being his guy, and as he's giving advice to Mark, Multi-Pole comes out of nowhere, kicking him to the ground, and then starts jumping him with his clones. And turns out Buddy wants a revenge for Duplicate's death, and Rex is over here talking about some "I didn't do nothing to you." And if I was Rex in this situation, I would be dumb tight, cause bro's coming after him like he wasn't the one trying to save her in the fight. Like, bro,
you idiot, you're honestly an idiot.
So Mark sees Rex getting jumped and takes care of his guy as he was holding back this whole time, flying over to Rex. But he gets jumped on by some clones, and we cut back to the villains of the week as they get back up, jump on their hoverboard, grab the Declaration of Independence and dip. We then cut back to Mark as he tells Multi-Pole that he doesn't want to hurt him, so he might as well leave Rex alone. And Buddy gon' see that Mark can't even hurt him no matter how strong he is, cause he's all alone. And that nigga Mark took that shit personally, cause he saw Rex getting bodied and decided to spaz, cause bro just goes on an absolute killing spree, murking every clone in sight. This is one of them guys I don't even lie about seeing straight red when they get angry. Anyways, during this absolute massacre, Kate ends up pulling back up with a mortal, causing the whole fight to end. Kate and Rex then catch up, and Multi-Pole decides he wants to swing at Rex again, but Mark ends up stopping him, hitting him with the one-punch knockout, and then explains to Kate that he needs to be taken to prison right away, cause he almost murked Rex and allowed them two guys to get away with the Declaration of Independence. So from here we cut to April as she's cheering Oliver, and look at that boy Oliver, all grown up already, looking like a mini Mark except he's purple. Anyways, Debbie and Mark then get home, and Mark decides to go outside to play catch with Oliver. They get to talking, and Oliver gets Mark to promise that as soon as he gets powers, he'll teach him how to be a superhero. And as soon as Mark says he promises, Oliver flies up to catch the ball, showing off he already has them shits. Bro is really like that. He got his powers way earlier than Mark. Nolan really about to go 2 for 2 like his name's LeVar Ball. So from here we cut to Rex as he brings Kate and the Immortal back to HQ, and everyone's like, what? Oh hell no! Oh hell no! And it turns out these niggas are actually engaged, but we do not care, cause Ray's finally back out the hospital. Hey, I'm not one of these weird shippers, but now that Eve's about to get with Mark, I think that Ray and Rex are bound to get together. Hey, I'm not a shipper though. Anyways, from here we gonna fast forward to the next day, and Mark's decided to pull up on Eve to tell her how he feels after getting advice from William and Rick the previous night. Anyway, so after a bit of small talk, Mark eventually builds up enough courage and asks Eve if they should try dating. And oh brother, this guy stinks. Buddy was stuttering the whole time. How are you a superhero and still can't talk to girls? This is why you need to come to my Riz lessons. Them boys Lance and Jim already took some and ended up bagging fine shit. You too could become a Riz master for the small price of £200 an hour. So from here we cut to Dr. Seismic, happy as can be in his cell, humming and tapping on the floor like he ain't getting straight doo-doo and fries for lunch every every day. We then see Rex taking a shower, and out of nowhere the water stops running and some blue goo stops spewing out. I know Squid was in the waterline, geeked as hell. So Rex then hops out the shower, and as he's walking through HQ, he sees a massive hole in the middle of the pathway, and out of nowhere giant centipedes pop out the car grabbing Rex as he's naked. So we then cut to Debbie and Cecil having a talk, cause after finding out that Oliver has powers, Cecil's trying to bring him back to the facility to run tests on him. And mid-conversation, Cecil gonna put up the hand to Debbie to tell her to stop talking, as he's getting a call from Donald. And look at Debbie's face, she can't even believe she's just been bitched like that. Anyways, Donald tells Cecil that every superhero in America's been abducted and there's only 2 left, Mark and Eve. So we cut back to Mark, and somehow this riz actually worked, cause Eve says yes and says that dating will be much simpler for them. But Mark ends up accidentally forcing himself to tell Eve what the other Eve says, and Eve starts getting mad cause of this, saying that Mark only asked her out cause the other Eve told him that she was miserable without him. And while they're arguing, Mark starts getting a call from Cecil and he explains everything that's going on. Mark then tells Eve he needs her help, and Eve suits up, barging past him, pissed as hell. So we then cut to Dr. Seismic underground with all the heroes in America giving his villain speech. But midway through, Mark and Eve pull up and instantly start talking crazy to bro, telling him that he ain't even that nice of a villain and he should pack all this up so they can go home. Now me personally, I would never take that level of disrespect. They basically told you just wasting their time. Anyways, Dr. Seismic sends out a blast telling the centipedes and the rock meant to pull up. Now I don't even know how we're going to contact with these type of people from inside this cell. Niggas be having the weirdest friendship groups. So the centipedes then surround Mark and Eve, and we see them fighting through Cecil's perspective, and from what we can see, they're getting absolutely violated. So Cecil tells Donald to open up the dark room and send them pods 1 to 3. We then cut to Eve as she's trying to defend herself from the glizzy gobblers, but it's not working. Mark sees this, weaves an attack, and tells Eve to free the rest while he covers her. He then charges in, pushing 2 of these things to the ground, and 2 spiders shoot at Eve, but she weaves this and the centipede pulls up behind her. But Captain Saverhole comes out of nowhere, grabbing the centipede by his fangs, holding it back. Eve then turns around to go save the other heroes, but Dr. Seismic is right behind her, and he blasts her in the face, knocking her out. Mark sees this and pushes the centipede off him, but gets tackled straight away again, and this time it actually gets him. He breaks off the fang, but the venom had already got into his system, causing him to get dizzy. Mark then starts stumbling around because of how dizzy he is, and this scene right here might be the toughest thing we've ever seen Dr. Seismic do, cause he walks up on Mark, puts his hand on his face and blasts him, sending him flying back without moving a muscle. And after getting knocked out, Mark wakes up in a cocoon with Eve, and Dr. Seismic's over here destroying the area. And after seeing that they're cooked, Cecil decides to send in Darkwing, and he ends up stopping Dr. Seismic from using his last attack, and Cecil sends in 3 pods of Dr. Sinclair's humanoid robots, and they instantly get to putting the team on their back, freeing all the heroes from their cocoons, and Darkwing's over here putting DS on the back pedals. He goes to call more of his friends, and these niggas really think they're the Avengers. I can name like 5 people from this group and the rest are nobodies. Anyways, one of the robots comes to free Mark, and he instantly flies into him, smashing him into the floor. And look at the state he left him in. Body's probably thinking, what did he say fuck me for? Cause bro literally did nothing wrong, he was just taking orders. Mark then flies up into the air and sees DS getting ready to summon Maharaga to take all them out. But before he can even get to him, Darkwing comes out from underneath his shadow and takes him into the shadow realm. And after seeing that DS is gone, the centipedes realize they didn't even fuck with both for real and decide to dip. The heroes then celebrate with Rex hitting the thug shake, and Darkwing pulls back up with DS knocked out over his shoulder. Mark then flies in, pushing Darkwing out the way, and starts to bug out because Cecil's working with Dr. Sinclair and Darkwing even though they murked many people. Mark then starts fully crashing out and decides to go have a word with Cecil himself. So Mark pulls up on Cecil in his office, confronting him about the situation, and Cecil tells Mark to chill and explains that Sinclair's and Nightwing's talents were too good to go to waste, so we decided to reform them and turn them into good guys. But Mark ain't having none of this, and Cecil then brings up a good point, saying that Mark's also murked someone, so should he be locked up and the key thrown away? Cecil then tells Mark to cut him a bit of slack, but Mark tells Cecil that he's not leaving without them two being back in jail. Cecil then walks away from Mark into the white room with Mark still yapping in his ear, and Mark asks a question why they're even in there, and Cecil explains it's for his protection, and Mark's over here confused cause protection from what? And Cecil says protection from Mark, with 5 of Sinclair's robots pulling up ready to jump him. Mark and Cecil continue arguing, and Mark walks up to Cecil saying he's done nothing wrong. One of the robots then grabs Mark and this rubs him the wrong way, so he uses the lessons he learned from Draymond Green, socking bro in the face, and then goes on a straight rampage. And after seeing bro get violated by Dr. Seismic, we finally see him tee up as he destroys each and every one of Sinclair's machines. Mark then says, is that all you've got?
No.
And the room then turns red with 1,000 1,000 more robots surrounding him. Mark then starts to fight, charging in at one of the robots, but Cecil turns on the transmitter inside of his head, causing him to start tweaking out. Mark then takes out his earpiece thinking it's gonna stop the noise, but it turns out that's the wrong one, as Cecil implanted a deeper one inside of his head while he was in the hospital. Cecil then takes his hand off the trigger and tries to show Mark that he's really LeBron and that Mark's AD. Bro could trade you at any time, so you better start playing good. Mark then realizes that the noise is gone and decides to fly away, smashing through the top of the building. Cecil peeps this and turns back on the transmitter, causing Mark to crash back down to the ground. Mark then makes a run for it again, heading to Guardians HQ. He smashes through the top of the building and instantly starts begging for help, but Cecil spawns in and Mark starts explaining what he done, talking about some
You can't keep getting away with it!
Cecil's then had enough of this and decides to turn back on the transmitter, and the whole team is taken aback by this because Mark's just tweaking out in front of their very eyes. Cecil then spawns in a bunch of Sinclair's monsters and tells the team to sit down, but they ain't having none of that because Monster Go transforms and the rest of them get ready to fight. Rex then throws a bomb at one of the monsters and the rest of the team wastes no time to get to squabbling, with each and every one of them putting in work to defend Mark. After a bit of fighting, Rex realizes that Cecil's the one sending out the transmission with the device in his hand, so he throws a bomb at his hand, exploding the device, but it doesn't work, and Robot explains I had a dead man switch, so he's now gonna have to find the frequency and block it. Sinclair's robots then start to ignore the other Guardians and go straight for Mark, jumping the hell out of him. Now this right here I cannot defend Cecil for no more. Up to this point I thought bro was in the right, but this right here is completely wrong. This is like trying to be a Yankee fan in 2025. Shit gets harder by the day. Anyways, while he's being jumped, Robot ends up blocking the frequency, allowing Mark to gain back consciousness, and filled with anger and rage, Bull just starts violating these robots. This reminded me of back in season 1 when Omni Man violated the Guardians in the same exact spot, and just look at the Guardians' face right now. They probably thinking maybe Cecil's right. So Mark finishes violating all the robots and Cecil starts going off on bro, calling him a hypocrite and saying that he should never threaten him again. And Cecil's acting like he gon' do something, but if you have a Viltrumite in front of you, you better lower your tone. Anyways, Mark's had enough of bro speaking, so he grabs him by the throat and tells him that they're done working and he should never come near his family again or else he will end him. He then tells Robot to take this transmitter thing out of his head, and this is where I'm gonna end it off for now. I've gotta say, Invincible season 3 is already peak. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and if you want more Invincible, comment it down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.